Hey everyone, welcome in to another daily editorial here on the KU Report. I'm getting an update from Nevada King Gold, traded on the TSX Venture Exchange under the symbol NKG and on the OTCQX under the symbol NKGFF. Going to be talking about the company's spin out of a royalty, some of the other projects within the large portfolio of assets within Nevada, as well as the private placement connected to this whole spin out that has just been upsized to a little under $10 million. To get information on all of this, I am chatting with the founder and CEO of Nevada King Gold, Collin Kettell. Now, Collin, look, there's a lot of moving parts within this one news release. Initially announced February 12th, the initial private placement amount was for $9,750,000. It has been upsized to just under $10 million. But again, there's this royalty spin out as well as other assets spinning out into a spin co. Let's just start off with the private placement. From my understanding, it looks like it's being fully allocated to insiders. Give us a bit of an understanding here of the almost restricted nature of this private placement.
Hey, Corey, thanks for having me back on. This is a great platform to be able to discuss what was a pretty lengthy press release that we put out a few weeks ago. The first part of it is, of course, the financing, and we had a small upsizing, so we're closing on about $10 million here in the next few days. As you pointed out, a lot of support from the current shareholders of the company. So myself in for $2 million of the financing. Our second largest shareholder, who is a reporting insider, is taking over $4 million of the financing. Another significant shareholder for $1.3 million. And then we do have a new strategic shareholder that's come on to the roster. Really happy to have him on board. He's a high net worth investor. Not going to name names, but one of the significant movers and shakers in the space that people would be familiar with the name. He's coming in for a couple $1 million. So like last year and like the year before, we've managed in what's not been a very good market condition to get a at the market pricing done, 35 cents, which is exactly where we were trading on the announcement, and no warrant. And we've got enough money coming in from long-term supportive shareholders to continue to advance things as we'd like to.
So the focus very much being at this Atlanta Gold project. We'll get into the spin out of the royalty and the spin out of the other assets, but bringing in just under $10 million to the company, what's that going to enable you to do to move forward the Atlanta project throughout this year and into, I assume, next year?
$10 million is going to continue to move us a far way forward in terms of advancing the asset. We are looking at beginning to redo the resource, or I should say establishing an updated resource model. And that's something that we haven't laid an exact timeline out for yet, but it is in the works. Also looking at doing a preliminary economic assessment. So trying to understand what are the implications around what we have been drilling and what we've found in terms of a future potential mining scenario. As I mentioned on the last call, we are very close to having the metallurgical phase 1 test results out. And those are going to be integral both in the updated resource in terms of understanding the implications of potential recoveries and hence what might fit into a model and what won't. And of course, it'll play prominently into a PEA if we make that move. We will still continue drilling. We're drilling right now, and the resource area remains open. We also are continuing to find high-grade mineralization in and around the resource area. And so we've got a good bit more to figure out. And then finally, what I'm really excited about is we're looking towards the district. And I think the market does have an understanding of the district scale implications of the project. We have about 1,500 claims, and we have the entire Atlanta caldera staked. And this is a gold system that's formed around the ring of a caldera. And without getting into geology, and I'm not a geologist, of course, there's a lot of reason to think that the Atlanta deposit area itself could be replicated in other areas in the district. And so that's something that we're going to be turning our attention to this year to really try to unlock the full potential.
All right, let's talk about the other aspects of the news then. The spinning out of a royalty, a 3% royalty on all production from certain portions of Atlanta, including the Atlanta resource area and non-core claims surrounding that Atlanta project. Also spinning out other, I guess, non-key assets right now. What is this company going to look like on the spinout?
What we've done is we've announced the intention to complete a spin out. The spin out is going to take all of the other assets that are currently in the Nevada King portfolio and put them into a new company. It's worth remembering that we are the third largest mineral claim holder in the state of Nevada. So while the focus of the market right now has been on the Atlanta Gold Mine project discovery, and rightfully so, we think that there's a lot of value and potential value to unlock from the rest of the portfolio. We've got about 12 projects that make up the remaining part of the portfolio. And all of those 12 projects are actually in the Battle Mountain Cortez trend proper. And when we set up Nevada King back in 2015, 2016, we saw a once in a generation opportunity to go in and pick up really large areas that had been recently dropped by some of the major gold companies who were struggling at the time, and put together a formidable land package that really, and most times in the past, a junior starting out on a shoestring budget couldn't do. And so fast forward to today, we're nestled in between some of the largest gold mines that are operating in the United States, a lot of resources as well, past producing gold mines. And each and every single one of those 12 projects, while we don't talk about them very much, have their own story. They've all had a significant amount of money spent on them through past cycles by major operators. And we know that in the cyclical business that we're in, that when exploration picks back up, those companies are going to want to go to the best place to find gold. And as the saying goes, the best place to find gold is next to a gold mine or near gold. So we're going to go ahead and spin those assets out. And then, as you mentioned, we're also spinning out a 3% royalty on the Atlanta project into that SpinCo. And so that's going to cover the main resource area, and it's going to cover the district area around the caldera that we went ahead and staked. And so the SpinCo is going to have the 12 projects. It's going to have the 3% royalty. I was mentioning to you before we started recording that as the founder of Nevada King, and being that we set the company up for this long-term land play, we always foresaw over time that we would have successes potentially like we've had at Atlanta. And a success can look like many different things. One could be discovery that we've had. It could be a joint venture opportunity with another company where there is discovery success. It could be that somebody has a discovery on the margin or boundary of our ground. And so something that we hold in that land package becomes very valuable. And the way we've always thought of monetizing this is to spin out or try to capture the value of those instances in time that we're able to create that value and crystallize the value. And so while we're spinning these assets out and we're spinning out the royalty, that's being done for a structure and tax structure purpose. That if we were to try to spin Atlanta out and keep all of the projects in Nevada King, it wouldn't work as efficiently. So what we're actually doing is we're spinning everything else out and keeping Atlanta in Nevada King to become a single asset focused company. But a lot of the shareholders who have been with us for a long time look at this as the natural evolution of the company. And it's something that we do hope to replicate time and time again as we continue to move forward and advance things.
So what about the time frame for spinning this asset out, spinning the SpinCo out with these projects, and then it's going to be private, so then bringing it public?
Yeah, we're working right now on the process of actually creating the SpinCo. We think it's going to take somewhere in the range of 3 to 4 months, and we'll have news out to the market in terms of progress on that well before that 3 to 4 month mark. It is going to initially be a private company, and at some point in the future, maybe the not too distant future, we will look to take that public and essentially float it into the public market, much as Nevada King is at the moment. We don't have a timeline established for that yet, but of course, market conditions are a big driver of when we make that decision. And who knows, maybe we're in the initial throes of something exciting finally for the sector.
Yeah, who knows? We could be. It was a good week last week that we saw for the gold price, especially, and also a number of the stocks. Let's just circle back to Nevada King generally then. You're going to close this financing for right around $10 million. You do still have drills turning on the Atlanta project. What news is coming in the near term for investors to watch out for?
Right. We've managed to put out quite a bit of news the last year and even at the beginning of this year, and I foresee that that probably continues at a good clip. We do have over 100 holes that are pending assay and release, and we're constantly working on getting those slotted into cross sections, being able to understand them and make meaning for the results. And so over the coming weeks and months, there'll be plenty more assays coming out. We also have the metallurgical phase 1 test program that's coming out. That should be out in the next couple of weeks. And beyond that, as we work on looking at putting out an updated resource and potentially a PEA, there will be information coming out to the market there. So this is a easy to understand now story, single asset focused. There's a lot of interest, of course, when you're making a discovery in Nevada. Nevada is the number one gold mining jurisdiction in the world, ranked by the Fraser Institute. Everybody wants to be in Nevada, and it's rare to come across a oxide discovery like at Atlanta. Atlanta has a lot of high grade intercepts have been coming out. The existing resource on Atlanta is high grade as compared to its oxide peers. So we think we're onto something special, and we think that that's going to bode well. It has boded well, but it will continue to as the market starts to pick up and people start to take an interest in this sector that we're so passionate about.
All right, well, Colin, we'll wrap it up here. Thank you for giving me a bit more insights on that financing and then the royalty and other projects spin out. And a lot of people noted that that financing was done right at the market price, but that can also help when you have all the insiders, it sounds like, and major shareholders taking part as well. For everyone listening, please email me any other questions you have for Colin. I will get him to address those for you. And I'll follow up, Colin, on the back of some more drill results because the company has been releasing a lot of drill results recently. Thanks very much for your time, Colin. Keep me up to date on news.
Thanks, Corey. Appreciate it.